What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another show. How you guys been doing? Still working on your silhouettes there? We're going to keep going with that on this episode here, but we're going to practice. We're going to keep with those basic steps. We're going to start making some mountains and work with some trees on this one here. But of course, we're going to grab our 16 by 20 canvas, and there's going to be just a few colors that we're going to be using. We're going to be using plain red, plain yellow, and black. All right, so before we get started, let me go ahead and give the next raffle ticket winner here. Rob C., you answered correctly on the last question. That was an extra bonus question for you on our last episode, and you got it right away. So you get entered into that drawing there. So let's go ahead and get started with our painting here. Again, we're going to silhouettes, starting with the basics, and have fun, guys. We got some fun things. I'm going to kind of give you some little insider tip on what paint I've been using this whole time, just so you can use the same at home. And then also we're going to start using maybe a few different brushes on today's episode. So enjoy it and have fun, guys. All right, see ya. All right, we're back and we are ready to paint it up. So I got this nice 16 by 20 canvas here. Again, it is gessoed here. I just recycled an old painting that I was working on before, slapped some gesso on there, and I got a nice bright white canvas now just to start over with. So I've got my three colors on my palette. I've got yellow, red, and black. All right, and I want you to go ahead and grab maybe one of your larger size brushes, like a 2-inch brush, just a flat one right there. What we're gonna do is we're gonna lay a nice, quick, easy foundation of a background sky with obviously some warmer colors. We're gonna be using yellows and reds, and we're just gonna practice with that. And then we're gonna start really adding a lot more silhouettes, some trees, and we're gonna kind of take out a different brush that you might not have used before, and we're gonna practice with that one too. So let's go ahead and have some fun with this here. I'm going to go ahead and just get this canvas nice and going here. I've got my plain yellow on my big brush right here. And again, very randomly, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of start from this bottom here. Just kind of back and forth, up and down. Now, a lot of our feature colors, we've been doing like this back and forth, back and forth. This one's a little bit different. I'm going to put maybe some more yellow in this corner here, just to brighten it up. We're going to add a few different layers of paint here, just to give it that nice bit of glow and some contrast. And you can even do like circular motions here, just getting that paint off of your brush. Now again, we're using acrylic paint, and I'll be kind of sharing actually what acrylic paint I've been using this whole time, and what I use a lot of my events too when I go out and about. And we'll cover that because that was one of our questions that we had on our comments section there. So you can see I've got this nice bright yellow, but I want to change it up. It's really, really bright. In fact, I don't want to put on my shades tonight, so I'm going to go ahead and take that same brush that I was using. I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit of red on it and mix it into some of that yellow. You can see I've got still some of that old color left on that palette. Ignore it. We're going to make a light orange. A light orange. I'm going to take some of that light orange around this outer edge here. Same brush. And I'm just doing some back and forth, even maybe doing some circular motions here with this nice light orange. I'm just kind of going around the edge here. And by doing that, kind of circulating and just going back and forth, it's helping that color blend a little bit. And so it has a nice like gradient effect there for you. All right, I'm going to take a little bit more because I'm out of it on my brush here. Oh yeah, I can see it coming off there. And I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit off here to the side. Now it's okay if you want to dip a little bit more yellow back on your brush and kind of break this up. You can see I've just got orange kind of going through some of the yellow. Imperfections. Going back to that, man. Remember that? Changing it up. There we go. Add a little bit more there. Blend it in. And then once you kind of get a feel, you got that nice little orange areas there, I'm going to put a little bit more red into my yellow. Maybe make a little bit of a darker orange. All we're doing right now is making kind of some background noise. Just some basic background noise of some color, because we want those silhouettes to really pop off this painting here. And I figure we can do it off a colorful background versus maybe like a boring white one. I think we can have a little bit more fun than that. So again, just using that big 2-inch brush, going back and forth, just kind of blending some of this, and then, yeah, just have fun with it. I got a little bit more red on my brush, put it into that yellow. Now check this out. That is a really vibrant color now starting to come off. Just because we added that really bright red, it's starting to saturate that very quickly. Again, random brush strokes, blending some of it. This is a great practice to get a feel for how that paint works, the acrylic paint. All right, I'm gonna bring some up here. It's almost gonna look like the sky is almost on fire. And I'll bring some coming up here. Again, just a real quick coating. This is more or less for fun until we start on our trees. And then I added a little bit more red on my brush and just went along with it. So you can see I'm just adding more and more, a little bit darker colors. You got your brighters down below. Gradient effect. It's okay if there's imperfections. We want it to be a little bit imperfect. And all the while I'm just putting a little bit more and more paint on my brush as I run out. Now you're more than welcome to paint your edges too. I leave that up to you if you want to do that. But as you can see, it turns out to be a really kind of a fun step. And you're only using 2 colors, that yellow and that red, and we made a lot of different oranges off that. Check that out. Eventually I'm starting to just put plain red on my brush as I get a little bit further up. But you can do whatever you like at home. This just gives you kind of a fun step before we start adding some of those silhouettes on here. But boy, oh boy, is it really gonna pop off this painting here, because it got these such bright, vibrant colors. All right. And really in the background, you're gonna start noticing there's gonna be imperfections. That's not really the focal point of this painting here. We're gonna really add those silhouettes, and you'll see that with a lot of like the clouds that we do in the background. They're gonna be messy, they're gonna be imperfect, and we want that. We don't want those really bright, like cartoony, puffy clouds. That takes away from a little bit more of that realism that we want in that painting. But as you can see, just got a lot of different color on here, and it will kind of make sense to you when you start adding those silhouettes. So when you're done with that, go ahead, you can set your palette down. You can dunk your paintbrush in your water cup too. And that paint, again, is already starting to dry. It's pretty sweet. That's how user-friendly this acrylic paint works. In fact, the acrylic paint that I use, I just typically go over to my local Michael store and just get Artist Loft. I get these big containers right here. We use them all the time at our events. They are such a easy, basic, user-friendly kind of paint. Very inexpensive too for the amount of paint that you get, and it does a good job. It covers, as you can see, a canvas really quickly, very well, and we use a lot of this paint, especially because we use it to teach so many people. This is a great product here, so you can get it at your local Michael store here. Again, it's Artist Loft. They make all sorts of colors. We got red, yellow, black, green. They'd even make like a whole neon line as well, and I believe they do have gold and silver, and maybe we can have some fun with that later on in some different shows here, but wanted to give that to you. Artist Loft. Enjoy your paint. Cling. All right, let's do it. Now, I want you to find a couple different size brushes here. I want you to find some that could be a little bit, I want you to be picky on this, all right? I want you to find ones that you can make fine lines with, All right, so maybe that is a smaller brush. Maybe it's a medium-sized brush with a a flat edge, or one with kind of like almost like you're drawing kind of deal. Whatever you can find a brush. And then I also want you, if you can, pick up a fan brush. All right, you'll see that when we start doing a lot of these different paintings out here. So what I mean here is I've got like this guy, it's a nice flat brush right here, just basic. It's got that nice little edge to it, and we can crunch our bristles on that one. I've got this one here. It's almost like a kind of a pokey, sharp one here. It's almost really good for drawing if you like doing stuff like that. And then your fan brush is a total different deal. It looks a lot like this here. They make all sorts of different styles, sizes too of these guys. You'll see what this kind of does too when we start really delving into. But again, don't spend a lot of money. Get like a cheap one for now, and then as you progress and you start seeing what you can do with it, then I could say maybe go get a little bit of a nicer one for that. All right, so let's make some land for these trees. All right, so we're gonna get plain black now. Let's make some land. Now, I just love this part again about silhouettes, is you can make it your own land. You get to play, with the whole canvas right here, and you get to do whatever you'd like. Again, a lot for my beginners here, I like starting on the bottom, doing that kind of bottom bit right here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do like a nice bar across the bottom. Remember, we want to kind of play it safe too with this plain black, because it will overpower your entire painting if you let it. All right, so we do want to play it a little bit safe as we start off and we're still learning. All right, we're going to go with this nice little bit right down here. Okay. Now in the silhouette, we're going to add some land, of course, so our trees can be on there. All right, but we want to have some fun with this like we've done with our other lands. We did it with the cactus, we did it with the palm trees, but now, okay, I want to go ahead and make maybe a bigger land. I want to really make this stand out. The best thing to do is really just kind of do like maybe a shape of a mountain, like a little top of a triangle. All right, and then what you can do is just fill it in. Now you can start smaller. I'd really prefer you to start a little bit smaller on your mountain and then progressively get big. But I've done this a few times, so I'm a little bit more cautious, uncautious, I should say, about it. And I've got that nice mountain there. Now, we know mountains aren't perfect, pyramids. So a good way to do texture or make it look a little bit more real is you can just take that brush and just dab along the side. You can just dab these kind of awesome, fun little rocks or little different scapes here that give it a lot more texture. Look how much that changed that texture of that land right there. And we made all these little imperfections. And it almost looks like, you can even maybe look like shrubbery. I mean, just depends on your view, your point of view with it and what you're going for. I'm gonna go over here. This one's really bright here. I'm gonna kind of get rid of some of that. Look at that. Made some random kind of cliff deal there. Your paint still trying to dry a little bit underneath. No big deal. This black saturates it that quickly and that easily that we can do this so quick. And it's just fun to practice, just fun with your land, just making it your own. Boom. And if you do want to make like little finer details, I would say maybe get a smaller brush. And you can maybe make some straight lines, things like that. Whatever's kind of comfortable for you. You can pick and choose your brushes. I did more of a medium one on this here, but I've definitely used small brushes, just to kind of practice with my land, because we're doing it real quick right now. All right. That's going to look a lot different once we start adding some trees on here. But as you can see, wow, look at that. Look at the impact that black makes compared to those bright colors right there. That's what's so fun about silhouettes. They're so impactful so quickly, but it also gives you really good practice on like doing the shapes of your trees and just having fun with it and just kind of getting the knack of it, because there's really so many ways to paint these trees. But we're just going to practice with one step here, and then we're going to change that eventually too. We're going to practice in all these different ways of doing them. All right, so when you're done, go ahead and set that brush that you were using, set it aside or dunk it in your water cup. You can wash it off, dry it off, whatever you'd like. And sometimes I typically get like a big pile of brushes myself and, just start, just switching out the brushes. That way you don't have to go back and clean them and do all that stuff. All right, here we go. We're going to take a deep breath. In and out. We're going to get brave here. We're going to start off with our tree trunk. All right, so we're going to go ahead and come up right into our sky here and make a nice little tree trunk. It's just a thin line going from our sky right into our land. Now your tree trunk typically is a little bit thicker on the bottom. All right, we're going to use a couple different brushes just so you can get a feel for it and just what you like. Now I'm using a smaller flat brush myself, but you can use like a pointy one or whatever you'd like. You can see I've got that nice tree right there. Now we're going to practice with this guy. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take this brush. Crunch your bristles. Crunch your bristles. Here, I'll do it with you. I'm going to take my napkin in my other hand, put that brush in there, and just wrap it over, and then just press down. Crunching the bristles. Boom. Got it. Now I'll put some more black paint on there, and I'm able to make finer lines. Now, very lightly with my brush, I'm just going to go horizontally. I'm going to start with some itty bitty little lines here. And I'm going to, as I come down my tree trunk, I'm going to start just breaking it up. Now, no tree's perfect, so we want these to be a little bit uneven. You don't want it to be so symmetrical. And as I come down a little bit, these branches tend to get a little bit bigger. You can see I'm just very quickly doing this because I just want to stay away from trying to be so perfect. I don't want it to be. I want it to be very random. And as we go down further, now these trees, these branches look like they're getting a little bit heavier. And we'll bring some of this down. There you go. Boom. Just a nice tree right there. All right, that one needs a nice little friend. So I'm gonna make another one. Maybe a smaller one right here, right next to him. And this one you take your time on. You're learning the technique. You're learning the feel for your brush. Remember, we want those imperfections. So you can see this one maybe has a little bit thicker right there. Who knows? Go to a forest. Tell me a tree that looks exactly alike right next to it, They're gonna look different for sure. Look at that. But what I love when you start doing the silhouette and you start doing the texture, you can see how much that color starts to really make that difference that we did that background. If we left it plain white, gosh, it would be pretty boring. I mean, it's fun to practice on, I guess, but why not do it on some awesome background color? Now this is just with this flat brush. All right, I'm gonna get you a feel for how that fan one does, because it's gonna make a different looking tree for sure. So I'll make one right next to it and we can kind of compare and see how we like it. First, what I'm gonna do is just make my tree trunk. I'm gonna use the same brush though. And I'm gonna make one right here. This one's a big one. I want you to see a little bit more of a difference. Boom. All right, again, your tree trunk's a little bit thicker right here. And I'm gonna grab my fan brush here And same thing, I'm just going to lightly put a little bit of black on there, not too much. You can just kind of wipe it off on some of your other areas of your palette. All right, let's give it a whirl, right? Very lightly. I'm going to touch and go back and forth, side to side. Now I can already see that the fan brush is giving me way more texture. And that's exactly what it's designed to do. It is designed to go ahead and give you all these little brush strokes, these random little ones that you weren't trying to be so precise with. And that's what adds to that effect of realism. Check this out. Look at that. Look how fast you can go with this fan brush. A lot faster too. But it makes those little brush strokes or little dashes that we didn't get with the other one. All right, you can see, tapers that. Little lines coming out of it now. Very, very thin, feathery lines. So I'll bring this up here so you can see the difference up close here. But there is definitely a difference in the brush itself. So as we also progress into our shows, we'll start using different tools. We're gonna do a whole thing on tools. You'll see eventually how when I start teaching you mountains, you'll see a lot of different techniques in that. There's so many different ways that we can do this, and the best part is we get to just test it out together and learn it together and really have some fun with it. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of cover up a little bit more of this forest here. I'm going to bring you up close so you can kind of see a little bit up close of what I'm doing and the technique and how we're doing it. And then we'll just wrap it up after that, and we'll have some more fun. All right, so keep it up, guys. Keep working on your trees. And yeah, let's do it to it. Let's rock. Let's go. Okay, guys, so that is it. All right, so you kind of saw a little bit up close of how you can do some of these trees with different brushes. I used a small flat one, and then I used that fan brush. There was a different effect, but they really kind of did a lot of things alike. The fan brush definitely did a lot more of those little tiny brush strokes that you barely see. And then the flat brush really kind of worked on, you know, making some definite more bolder things right here. You can even kind of get in and get some of those detail things. So really essentially, also something I want you to notice too when we're doing these trees, you can see it was not perfect. We wanted these little gaps between here. We wanted some of them a little bit darker, some a little bit lighter. That helps add to some of the realism. You can go back with one of your, you know, regular brushes too and just kind of fill in some of that black just to give it a feel. You can see it's really dense down here, down below. And then again, you can practice not only with trees, you can, you know, make a little bit more of a rocky deal here with your land. Once you start really shaping it and seeing what you like and how you want it to be, that's what's most important, is really making it a nice little piece of work of art that you enjoy. Okay, so again, take your time, have fun with it. All right, we've got a little bit of a forest scene here. Again, if you'd like, practice with the big splash of color in here. It really makes that black and those silhouettes pop off way more dramatically, and I guarantee you're going to love the result much better than if you were to leave it white or anything like that. So have fun. Okay, guys, we're going to see you on the next episode coming up here, and thanks for joining me again. Always a pleasure painting with you guys. And again, send your photos of your paintings and questions, comments, everything to our Facebook, Instagram, or again, subscribe on YouTube, Brushing Up with Sean. We'll see you at the next one here. Remember, anyone can paint. See you guys.